I was standing by the kitchen window, staring at the empty driveway, when Kathy walked back into my life. She had been gone for 6 weeks. 6 long, confusing weeks. And now she was back, pregnant. My name is Nicholas, I'm 30. Kathy is 28. We were married for less than 2 months when she told me she needed some space to help her sick ex-boyfriend. I remember standing there that day, stunned. Are you serious right now? I asked her. It's just, he has no one else, Nicholas, she said, avoiding eye contact. He's dying. I need to be there for him. She packed a bag that same night and left. I didn't yell. I didn't beg. I just watched her walk out the door, my wife, leaving me for her ex. We had a perfect wedding, just a few weeks before all this madness. I met Kathy back in 2018 at my best friend Phil's barbecue. I almost didn't go, I was tired and just wanted to crash at home. But Phil kept insisting, said I needed to stop sulking after my last breakup. She caught my eye while helping Phil's girlfriend set up the food. She was laughing, her messy ponytail bouncing, wearing a plain blue sundress. Not dressed to impress, not trying to stand out, and maybe that's what made her stand out to me. You don't like barbecue chicken? She asked, wrinkling her nose. Nope. Overrated, I said with a grin. She laughed. Finally, someone who gets it. We ended up talking for hours. It was natural, effortless. From that day, we were inseparable. She was everything I wanted, smart, kind, a little weird in the best way. She worked as a pediatric nurse and always had the sweetest stories about her little patients. We even loved the same trashy reality shows. 90 Day Fiancé, Guilty Pleasure. We never had drama, no jealousy, no big fights. Just peace. So I proposed last year on a hiking trip. She loves the outdoors. I almost dropped the ring off the cliff because my hands were shaking so much, but she laughed and said yes with tears in her eyes. We got married at a beautiful vineyard she'd always dreamed about. It cost a fortune, but she looked like magic in her white dress. I would have paid double just to see her that happy. And now, here she was, standing in our kitchen, holding her stomach. I didn't plan for this to happen, she whispered. But, I'm pregnant. I felt my heart drop. And it's not mine, right? I said flatly. She shook her head. No. Silence hung heavy in the air. Then she looked at me with tears in her eyes. But I made a mistake. I realized I still love you. I want to come back, to us. I just stared at her for a moment, then said the words that flipped her world upside down. I've moved on, Kathy. I found someone who chose me the first time. Her mouth fell open. What? Are you saying, you're with someone else? Yeah, I said. She was there when you weren't. She stood frozen. I walked past her, picked up my keys, and headed for the door. I hope he's worth what you gave up, I said before walking out. Kathy had even picked out names for our future kids. She wanted to name our son after her grandfather. I was totally fine with that, I thought it was sweet. If someone had told me back then that everything would crash down so fast, I would have laughed. We had just returned from our honeymoon in Santorini, Greece. It was paradise. Bright white buildings, blue rooftops, sunsets that felt like dreams. I remember thinking, this is the beginning of our forever. But, forever, didn't last long. 2 weeks later, it all started falling apart. It was a Friday night, and I was home early, excited. Kathy had been working late shifts at the hospital all week, and I wanted to surprise her with her favorite dinner. I went to this expensive butcher shop downtown and bought 2 aged ribeye steaks, $60 each. Yeah, it was a splurge, but I didn't care. She deserved something nice. I set the table with candles and music. By 6 p.m., everything was ready. Then she texted me, Kathy, hey babe, meeting Ashley for coffee. Be home soon. Ashley. Of all people. She'd been Kathy's best friend since college, but I never liked her. Always in the middle of someone else's business. Always stirring the pot and acting innocent. But whatever, it was just coffee. By 8:30, the steaks were cold. I was starving and frustrated. When she finally walked through the door at 9, she didn't even look at the setup. Her eyes were dull. Her lips were pressed tight. Can we talk? She asked, her voice low and serious. Something in me froze. I thought maybe she was pregnant. We weren't trying, but I figured accidents happen. I would have been shocked, but happy. Instead, she sat down on the kitchen stool and looked at me like she was about to deliver bad news to a patient. I've been talking to Mark, she said. I blinked. Mark, your ex. She nodded slowly. Ashley saw his brother at the gym. He told her Mark has stage 4 glioblastoma. It's really bad, Nicholas. They gave him maybe 6 months. I said nothing. My jaw clenched. I texted him. At first just to check in. Then we kept talking. He's scared. He has no one. She looked up at me with glassy eyes. I didn't mean for it to happen, but I've been seeing him again. Just to be there for him. As a friend. A friend. I scoffed, trying not to explode. While I'm here grilling you $60 steaks, you're reconnecting with your ex. I wasn't hiding it, she said, pulling out her phone. You can read the texts if you want. And I did. I read every message. It wasn't cheating, but it was worse in some way. They talked about old memories, inside jokes, late-night fears. They shared things I hadn't even heard from her in years. She had one foot in the past while I was building a future for both of us. The next morning, she packed a bag. I need to go to him, she said, voice shaking. He's alone. He needs me. I didn't fight her. I just nodded. Go, Kathy. But don't expect me to wait around. She hesitated. I still love you. You've got a strange way of showing it. She left. Weeks passed. I barely ate. Slept even less. My friends tried to get me out of the house. I told them I was fine. I wasn't. And then she came back. Pregnant. Said she made a mistake. Said she wanted us again. But I wasn't the same man she left. I should have known the moment Kathy sat across from me with that sad, serious look in her eyes. Everything was about to change. The candles on the dinner table still flickered. The steaks, both untouched, had gone cold. But the heat in my chest, that was just starting. She looked me straight in the eyes and said it. His last wish is to spend his final days with me. I blinked. What? Nicholas. He's dying. He says being with me would give him peace. Her voice was shaky. He told me I was the one that got away. I stood there in stunned silence. My hands clenched. My jaw locked. And you believe him? I finally said. You believe this Hallmark crap? Kathy dropped her gaze, her hands fumbling with the edge of her sweater. It's not like that. I didn't plan this, Nicholas. But when Ashley told me, when I saw him. Oh, Ashley again, I cut her off, my voice rising. Right. The single life coach who lives on Pinterest quotes and never minds her business. She just wanted to help, Kathy muttered. No, Kathy. She wanted drama. And now here we are. She tried to explain. Said it felt like the universe was testing her. That helping Nicholas through his final months was something she needed to do to feel whole. He has no one, she kept saying. His family's all back east. I looked at her, this woman who had just vowed to build a future with me, and asked quietly, what about me? What about your husband who you just promised to love for life? Kathy's lips trembled. She tried to answer, but the tears came first. I don't know, she whispered. That's when I asked the question I'd been afraid to hear the answer to. Do you still have feelings for him? Her silence was louder than any scream. She just cried. Kathy always cried when she was overwhelmed. Usually, I'd hold her and tell her it was okay. But not tonight. It's not about that, she finally said. This is bigger than us. Ashley helped me see that. If I don't go now, I'll regret it forever. She was already halfway out the door in her heart. I could see it. I could feel it. And the worst part, Ashley orchestrated the whole thing. She ran into Nicholas's brother, by chance. She arranged a coffee meetup for them at their old cafe. Then she pumped Kathy full of talk about fate and second chances like she was writing a rom-com script. First loves are meant to be last loves, Kathy quoted her, her eyes distant. I laughed bitterly. And you're just eating this all up. She's not wrong, Kathy said quietly. I tried to stay calm, but I had to ask. Have you even seen any proof? Any records? Talked to his doctor? His family? That's when Kathy's whole face changed. I can't believe you're saying that. You think he's lying about brain cancer. I think you're being led around like a puppet by a woman who's bored with her own life. And you, I stopped myself, breathing heavily. You don't even know if it's real. The Nicholas the First knew would never lie, she snapped. There it was. The Nicholas the First knew. That phrase echoed in my mind. Not the man who left her, not the past. No, the Nicholas she knew, like he still lived in her heart. That moment broke something in me. You want to know the most messed up part? She left. And I let her. You want to take a break from our marriage. I couldn't believe the words coming out of her mouth. Kathy stood in the doorway like she was asking me to understand something reasonable, like she hadn't just told me she was leaving to play nurse for her dying ex-boyfriend. It's not forever, she said quietly. Just until I help Nicholas through this, his final months. Then maybe we can. I slammed my glass on the counter. Marriage doesn't have a pause button, Kathy. You can't hit hold on your husband because some guy from your past popped up with a sob story and a bucket list. She flinched but didn't back down. It's not like that. Then tell me how it is, I snapped. Because if the roles were reversed, if I told you I was leaving you to be with a dying ex, you'd go insane. That's different, she said without looking at me. How? I demanded. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. The conversation spiraled from there. Round and round. Her talking about karma and how the universe had placed this moment in front of her for a reason. Me trying to drag her back to reality. Trying to make her remember who she promised forever to just 3 months ago. Then she said it, the line that killed something inside me. If you really love me, you'll understand why I need to do this. I stared at her, stunned. That's not love, Kathy. That's manipulation. She looked at me like I was the problem. Like I was the one who didn't get it. I saw the disappointment in her face, the pity, like she thought I was failing some invisible moral test. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. You need to choose, I said. Right now. If you walk out that door to go be with him, we're done. No break. No reunion after his final months. You don't get to come back when you're finished playing Florence Nightingale. Kathy froze. You're being cruel, she whispered. Life isn't black and white. No, I said firmly. This is black and white. Either you're my wife, or you're not. She didn't respond, just stared at me with that same look like I was the one letting her down. Then she grabbed her purse and said, I need time to think. She left to stay at Ashley's. The sound of the front door clicking shut was louder than any argument. It was final. I sat in the kitchen all night. Didn't sleep. Didn't eat. Just stared at the cold steaks and the empty wine glasses, wondering how my life had turned into this twisted soap opera. The next few days were hell. Kathy stayed at Ashley's. She barely replied to my messages. When she did, it was short, cold, polite. Need more time. Please understand. Still thinking things through. I hope you're okay. I wasn't. I couldn't sleep. Couldn't eat. Every minute felt like I was watching a slow-motion car crash that I couldn't stop. My friend Phil, same guy who threw the barbecue where Kathy and I met, dropped by with pizza one night. She really said that? He asked, stunned. She's moving in with Nicholas. Yeah, I said quietly. She said she had to follow her heart. Phil shook his head. Man, we all thought she was solid. You two looked like the real deal. So did I said. We sat there in silence, the untouched pizza growing cold, just like the steaks from that night. Then it happened. A week after she left, I got the longest text message I've ever received. I've thought about everything, and I know this is going to hurt you, but I have to follow my heart. Nicholas needs me right now. I don't expect you to wait. I just hope one day you can understand why I had to do this. Maybe after Nicholas is gone, we can talk again. After Nicholas is gone. She actually said that. Like I'd be waiting on standby, ready to be her second option when her first choice finally died. The very next day, I got an email from her lawyer. Not even a call. Just cold, formal words in my inbox. We hope to proceed amicably with the divorce. Please find the attached documents. And just like that, Kathy, the woman I married, the woman I thought I knew, was gone. Gone to help the man who once broke her heart, and now broke mine. I was at work when I got the email. Just a normal Tuesday morning. I was halfway through my second cup of coffee, trying to push through the mountain of spreadsheets on my screen, when I saw her name pop up in my inbox. Subject: Final decision. I opened it. The first line read, "I hope you'll one day understand why I had to do this." By the time I reached the end, I felt like I'd been sucker punched. She was going through with it. Kathy was officially leaving me for Nicholas. Not just to help him. She was moving in with him. I sat there staring at the screen. Numb. I didn't even finish the email. I just stood up, walked to my manager's office, and said I felt sick. Which, technically, wasn't a lie. The drive home was a blur. I couldn't think straight. Everything felt unreal. How had I gone from being newly married to being single again in a matter of weeks? And worse, abandoned. Not for someone new, but for someone old. Someone who had already broken her heart once, and somehow earned her loyalty in death more than I had in life. What made it worse were the people who thought I should be proud of her. "You should admire how selfless Kathy is," Rachel said. Rachel, my friend. Someone who had been in our wedding photos, who toasted our marriage. "You're seriously telling me I should be proud that my wife left me for her ex?" I asked, not hiding the bitterness in my voice. "She's trying to give someone peace at the end," she replied. "So am I, myself. And I can't even get a text back from her." Then there was that dinner with our couple friends. They tried to, gently, convince me to see Kathy's side. "Imagine if you had the chance to be there for someone you once loved, and you didn't take it," one of them said. "Wouldn't you regret it?" I put my fork down. "Would you leave your spouse for a dying ex?" I asked. Silence. The table went cold. Yeah, that's what I thought. Even Lisa, Kathy's sister, who I'd always gotten along with, started posting vague messages online. True love means standing by each other's hard decisions. Real support doesn't always make sense to others. Give me a break. When Kathy's lawyer sent over the divorce papers, I didn't hesitate. I called my brother, who hooked me up with a top-tier attorney. The guy didn't smile once during our consultation. I liked him instantly. Kathy had expected me to move out of the house. The house I'd paid 70% of the down payment on. I told her no. "If you want the house so badly, buy me out," I said. "But I'm not going anywhere." She looked shocked, like I was supposed to just roll over and make this easier for her. Then came the day she returned to pack her stuff. She brought Ashley, of course. Her loyal little sidekick, who glared at me like I'd cheated, not Kathy. They were there for almost 3 hours. Every time they walked past me with another box, Ashley let out these loud, fake sighs, like I was a heartless monster. I didn't flinch. Just sat on the couch, beer in hand, football playing on low volume. I didn't offer to help. Not once. Then Kathy tried to take Max, our lab mix. My dog. "Nope," I said. "He's staying." "Nick, come on," she pleaded. "I need him. You know I've been struggling emotionally." "Yeah, well, Max is registered under my name. I paid all his vet bills. He's not going to go live with you and Nicholas like some therapy dog in a romantic movie. Not happening." Her eyes welled up, but I didn't budge. She left without him. The divorce itself moved quickly. We hadn't been married long, and Kathy didn't even fight for anything. She signed over her share of the house. No argument. Even her lawyer looked surprised. I think she felt guilty. Or maybe she just wanted to wrap it all up before Nicholas's final days ended. After she left for good, the house felt like a cave. Way too big. Way too quiet. I trashed all her stuff, clothes, books, old candles, photos, every trace of her. My mom started calling more often, hinting at matchmaking like it was her full-time job. "There's a girl at church, sweet and godly," she said one night. "Her name's Denise. I think you'd like her." "Thanks, Mom," I muttered. "But I'm good." She meant well, but I wasn't ready. Maybe I wouldn't be for a while. Because it wasn't just about losing a marriage. It was about the way Kathy looked me in the eyes and still chose someone else. It was about how easily people justified betrayal as compassion. And how love, when tested, doesn't always choose you back. If you'd told me 3 months ago that I'd be standing shirtless in a Brazilian jiu-jitsu gym, sweating like hell and laughing at some guy who just tapped out, I'd have called you crazy. But here I was, leaner, sharper, a little less broken. Back then, after Kathy left, my world felt like it had cracked wide open. My buddies tried pulling me out of the darkness. Come on, man, Jared had said one Friday night. Let's hit a bar. You need to get back out there. Back out where? I shot back. You want me to meet someone and say, hey, I'm Nick. My wife left me for her dying ex 2 months after our wedding. He blinked. Okay, maybe not like that. Exactly. So I skipped the bars and threw myself into work instead. I picked up every extra shift, every project. My boss, Greg, noticed. You sure you're okay, Nick? He asked one morning as I reviewed budget reports at 6:45 a.m. I'm getting there, I said. He nodded. You want more hours, they're yours. I took them all. The money was good. The silence was better. But nights were the hardest. I'd sit in the dark living room, the weight of an empty house pressing on my chest like a boulder. Max, my dog, my sanity, would curl up beside me. Without him, I don't think I would have remembered how to function. He forced me to move. Walks at dawn. Feeding time at 6. Curling up next to me as I rewatched Breaking Bad for the 3rd time. You think I'm a Walter or a Jesse? I'd ask him. He'd just wag his tail and nudge me for snacks. I started doing little home projects, painting, new shelves. Fixing things Kathy always said we'd get to. Each fix felt like a stitch in my heart. I was patching myself up one cabinet at a time. But social media, that was another beast. Kathy kept things quiet online. Guess, left my husband for my dying ex, doesn't photograph well. But mutual friends, they weren't shy. I'd see her tagged at dinner parties, smiling like nothing happened. Meanwhile, I was lying awake at 3 a.m., checking my phone like some idiot hoping she'd text, saying it was all a mistake. Ashley was the worst. Her posts were always indirect jabs. Sometimes the heart knows before the mind understands. Real love doesn't ask for permission. I blocked them both. Couldn't take it anymore. Some friends chose sides. Others disappeared, like my grief made them uncomfortable. I got uninvited to group events. That part hurt more than I expected. But my brother, he stayed. Every weekend he showed up with his kids, shouting, Uncle Nick, it's Nerf war time. Those little monsters saved me more than they'll ever know. Fast forward a few months, I was doing better. Got promoted at work. Bought a new truck, finally got my dream Tacoma. Jiu-jitsu kept my head clear. My reflection didn't look so sad anymore. I even started dating again. Just casual stuff. Coffee here, drinks there. I learned how to smile through small talk again. You were married? One woman asked once. Yeah, I said, but I'm not bitter. Just, more careful now. And I meant it. Then, on a totally random Tuesday afternoon, my phone lit up like a Christmas tree. Buzz, buzz, buzz. At first, I thought something was wrong at work. Emergency maybe. But no, it was Kathy. Calls, texts, voicemails, all coming in like a wave. I stared at the screen, jaw tight. What the hell does she want? I didn't answer. Then came a message from Lisa, Kathy's sister. Lisa had actually been decent. She apologized to me a couple months after the split, said she hadn't realized how bad it had been from my side. Her message just said, please call me, it's important. It's about Nicholas. It started with one message from Lisa. Just one. Nick, please call me. You really need to hear what Kathy has to say. That was it. No drama. No details. Just that. I sat at my desk staring at the screen. My lunch was sitting cold in front of me. Half a sandwich, untouched. I didn't want to talk to Kathy. Not after 3 months of silence. Not after what she did. But Lisa wasn't dramatic. If she said it was serious, it probably was. I finally answered Kathy's call on my break. Nick, her voice was cracked and panicked. I messed up. Oh God, I messed up so bad. She was sobbing so hard, I could barely understand her. At first, I thought the worst. Is he dead? I asked flatly, staring at my steering wheel. Mark, I wish that was it, she cried. No, he's not dead. He's not even sick. What? Nick, he lied. About everything. There was no cancer. There never was. I blinked. Kathy, what the hell are you talking about? She took a shaky breath. It was all fake. The cancer, the treatments, all of it. He saw our wedding photos on Instagram and decided he wanted me back. So he made up this whole story. His friend forged the hospital paperwork. The work from home thing. Just to stay out of sight. I stared out the window. The sun was bright, but everything felt cold. And you believed him? I asked, not even trying to hide the disbelief in my voice. I was scared. He said he didn't have long. I thought if I didn't go, I'd regret it forever. I didn't know, Nick, I didn't know it was fake. I didn't say anything. I just listened. Apparently, Kathy found out when she bumped into Mark's sister at Whole Foods. Oh yeah, she'd said. Glad you two worked things out. You guys are back together, huh? Yeah, after the cancer stuff, I just couldn't walk away, Kathy replied. The sister just frowned. Cancer? What cancer? That was the beginning of the end. That night, Kathy confronted Mark. His reaction? He laughed. I made it up, he said, but it worked, didn't it? Then he dropped the real bomb. I'm actually moving to California next month with Jessica. We've been seeing each other for 6 months. Sorry, Kathy. I needed you back then. Not anymore. People change. You should move on, too. I was sitting in my truck, holding the phone to my ear while Kathy sobbed and told me all of this. And then, I laughed. A full-on, chest-aching, tear-producing laugh. The kind where people passing by would have thought I lost my mind. It was just so insane. The man faked cancer to steal my wife. Then dumped her and peaced out with his coworker like this was a normal Tuesday. Kathy was still crying. I threw away our marriage for a lie, she said. I destroyed everything, and for what? I was so stupid. Nick, I'm so sorry. I will never forgive myself. Please say something. I took a breath. Yep. Then I ended the call. She sent message after message. Paragraphs. Then an essay-length text. She talked about the universe, how this was fate, how maybe this was all meant to bring us back together. Her spiritual side, still clinging to the idea that pain has purpose. I didn't respond. I drove to the gym. Rolled hard for 2 hours on the mat. Came home, showered, cracked open a beer, and sat on the couch beside Max. He tilted his head at me like, you good? Asterisk. I think I am, I muttered. It felt strange. Calm. Like I had finally let something go. The next day, Kathy went nuclear. She posted everything on Facebook. The lie, the fake cancer, the betrayal, tagged Mark, tagged his girlfriend Jessica, tagged his job. The comments section exploded. It felt like watching a fire burn down a house, with everyone still inside. Kathy's Facebook post went viral within hours. And I mean viral, the comments. Pure chaos. Wait, Nicholas faked cancer. Girl, please tell me this is satire. Tag the hospital. I got time today. Kathy didn't hold back. She tagged everyone, Nicholas, his new girlfriend Jessica, his job, even some of his family. It was all out there. Like a digital explosion, no one could stop watching. Jessica. She dumped him immediately. No long text. Just a clean break and a public comment. I hope you rot in the shame you built. His company found out too. Turns out, lying about medical leave and using fake documents. Not the smartest move. They fired him within 24 hours. And his family. They were disgusted. His sister commented, he's dead to me. We weren't raised like this. His mom posted a single broken heart emoji. That's it. But it spoke volumes. Nicholas had destroyed his entire life chasing a fantasy, trying to win back Kathy like she was a prize. And the worst part, she still thought we could fix things. That week was a circus. Kathy started showing up outside my office with coffee. Not just any coffee, my exact order. Black, 2 sugars, no cream. She emailed me at work. Messaged my mom. Mom didn't play along. She made her bed. Let her lie in it, she told me. You owe her nothing. After a week of constant begging, I gave in. Not because I wanted her back. Honestly, I just wanted peace. We met at a busy coffee shop downtown. I chose the spot carefully, public enough to keep things civil, noisy enough to drown out any crying. She walked in wearing one of my old hoodies. My heart didn't skip. My blood didn't warm. I just felt tired. Her eyes were swollen, like she hadn't slept in days. Hey, she whispered, barely looking up. I didn't say anything. I just watched her. Then, she smiled through tears. You look good. Been working out. I sipped my coffee. Yeah. Turns out getting abandoned by your wife is great gym motivation. She flinched. Did I care? No. Then came the speech. You give to the person you promised forever. She started crying again. Quietly this time. I stood up. Take care of yourself, Kathy. And I walked out. You know what the worst part is? I said, pulling my hand back slowly. If Nicholas had actually been dying, you'd still be with him right now. Kathy looked away, her eyes climbing to the ceiling like the answer might be up there. I'd seen her do that before, during sad movies, when she didn't want me to see her cry. You're only here because he turned out to be a liar, I continued, my voice low but firm. I was never your first choice. I'm just your backup plan. She flinched like the words stung. And honestly, they were supposed to. That's not true, she whispered, voice cracking. You're being cruel. No, I said calmly. Cruel is leaving your husband of 3 months for your ex without even asking a single question. You just left. Then she reached into her bag and pulled out the drama. Please, she said, her voice breaking again. We can go to counseling. I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you. I still have my wedding ring. I wear it sometimes, just to feel close to you. Weird flex. I laughed, not meanly, just because the whole situation was ridiculous. 2 years ago, this woman walked out of my life like it meant nothing. Now she thought a therapy session and a wedding ring could patch it up. You don't need couples counseling, Kathy, I said gently. You need individual therapy. You need to figure out why you were so quick to throw away our marriage for someone who lied to your face. She looked like I'd knocked the air out of her. There's no future for us, I said. The man you married, he died the day you chose Nicholas. I'm someone else now. I stood up, dropped a few dollars for my coffee, and walked out. 1 hour later, she texted me, I'll wait for you. I'll prove I can be better. Somehow, I left it on read. Went home, hugged my dog, ordered a pizza, and for the first time in a long time, I felt okay. 4 months later, life had finally started to smooth out. I was seeing this amazing woman, Amy. She taught kickboxing at my gym, strong, honest, no nonsense. The total opposite of Kathy. We'd been dating for a few weeks. Not serious yet, but getting there. I was cooking dinner one night, steak sizzling, red wine breathing, when there was a knock at the door. It was Kathy. I hadn't seen her since the coffee shop. But she looked different now. Pale, nervous, and pregnant. Very pregnant. My heart dropped. I opened the door slowly, confused. Kathy, what are you doing here? She was shaking, holding an envelope in one hand, the other pressed to her stomach. I'm 14 weeks, she said quietly. I blinked. 14 weeks. I did the math in my head. 14 weeks ago was, right before everything exploded with Nicholas. Right before she walked out on me. I looked down at the envelope she was holding. She handed it to me with trembling fingers. It's yours, she said. I had a paternity test. One of those early blood tests. You're the father, Nick. 99.9%. I opened the envelope. The words hit like cold water. Probability of paternity, 99.9%. She was crying. Again. I found out right after everything fell apart with Nicholas. I've been trying to find the courage to tell you. I just stood there in my kitchen, holding a piece of paper that changed everything. My pregnant ex-wife was standing in front of me, and my new girlfriend was on her way over for dinner. I felt like I was floating above my own body, watching a version of me trying to figure out what the hell to do. When I opened that door, I wasn't expecting my past, and future, to be standing there in the form of my visibly pregnant ex-wife, Kathy. 14 weeks along, 99.9%. My child. She stood there shaking, holding the envelope like it was about to burn her fingers. I read the test results 3 times, just to be sure. Then again. But no matter how many times I looked, the numbers didn't change. It's yours, she whispered. I didn't tell anyone, except my mom. I've been going to every doctor's appointment alone. I thought you deserved to know. She looked scared. And small. Like the Kathy I once knew was buried under guilt and exhaustion. I didn't know what to say. She kept talking. I know this complicates everything, but I couldn't hide it from you. You've always said you wanted to be a dad. And that's what got me. Because she was right. Even before all the mess, before Nicholas, before everything crashed and burned, we used to talk about it. Sunday mornings in bed, coffee in hand, her head on my chest. She used to say we'd have 2 kids. A boy and a girl. Maybe a dog. Now she's having my baby, and she's not even part of my life. I stood there frozen as she finally said, "I'm not asking for anything right now. I just wanted you to know." Then she left. 1 hour later, I canceled dinner with Amy. Told her I was feeling sick. Technically true, my stomach was in knots and my head felt like it was splitting in half. Now I'm sitting on the couch with Max, my golden retriever, who's smart enough to know something's wrong. He keeps nudging his toys into my lap, tail wagging like it'll somehow fix this. I stare at the paternity test again. The paper's still crumpled in my hand. The mess in my head. Here's the twisted part, I'm kind of excited. I wanted to be a dad. That part of me is glowing inside. But then there's the rest of it. Kathy didn't just leave me. She left me for someone. A man who faked cancer. And she didn't even ask questions, just packed up and walked out. Now she wants to talk about trying again. She said maybe the baby is a sign. A second chance. But is it? Or is it just another mess she's dragging me into? Because yeah, a baby changes everything, but it doesn't erase the past. It doesn't fix betrayal. It doesn't suddenly make her the person I once trusted. And then there's Amy. Sweet, straightforward Amy. We've only been dating a few weeks, and I already know she hates drama. How do I even begin to tell her this? Hey, by the way, my ex-wife showed up pregnant today. It's mine. Want dessert? That's not a conversation you drop in between wine sips and salad. So now I'm stuck. One part of me is thrilled I'm going to be a dad. Another part is terrified that I'll have to deal with Kathy, this version of Kathy, for the next 18 years. And another part feels horrible for dragging Amy into something she never signed up for. Max lays his head on my knee like he's trying to calm me down. Good dog, I mutter, rubbing behind his ears. But really, I have no clue what I'm supposed to do. So now, I'm asking you, you watching this or reading this. What would you do? How do you co-parent with someone who completely broke your trust? How do you protect your peace while still being present for your child? And how the hell do you break the news to someone new that your ex is carrying your baby? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you've ever been through something even remotely close, share it. Because right now, I feel like I'm drowning in a situation I didn't ask for, but can't walk away from either. If this story hit you in any way, if you felt something, related to anything, or just want to see where it goes next, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support means everything and helps me keep telling these wild, real, emotional stories. And trust me, this one's far from over.